Welcome, Marisha, to Parenting Twigs Mini Talks. So, today we are going to talk about dental habits, and I also want to introduce, before we talk about this thing, who Dr. Marisha is. So, Dr. Marisha uh, is her full name is Dr. Marisha Chheda Dedia. She's completed her bachelor's in dental surgery and from DY Patil Dental College, uh, which is at Navi Mumbai. Further, she did her internationally CDE postgraduate program under the auspices of the faculty and the staff of the New York University College of Dentistry. She has inherited her passion from dentistry from her dad, late Dr. D.U. Chheda. He is also her idol and inspiration. Dr. Marisha is an expert in all the facets of dentistry, but mainly focuses in cosmetic and aesthetic dentistry. Her services are experienced in dental camps in rural areas as well. So she has given her services in lots of NGOs where lots of dental camps happen. That's an amazing stuff. Over to you, Marisha. This platform is all yours. And
Thank you so much, Sarita.
I have made you a co-host. If you have any PPT to share, you can
Yeah,
say that.
so warm welcome to
Uh,
oral habits.
You were mute in between. Okay, no problem. Continue.
Yeah. So again, a warm welcome to all the parents who've come here. Because they are here, itself shows a lot that they are really keen to know about oral habits and how they can help their children in, not facing dental problems, which probably they have faced. So itself is very overwhelming that so many parents have joined. So guys, I've made a small presentation for you all. I'll just start sharing the screen. Yeah. Can you see it, Sarita? Sarita? Sarita, are you there?
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can see, right? I'll start then. Okay. All right. So these are my three babies. I would call them my three practices where I practice, like two in Dadar, one at Jogeshwari. So just again, slight introduction for myself. I'm Dr. Marisha Chheda Dedia, practicing since 15 years at Dadar and Jogeshwari. Apart from my BDS, I have done a diploma in cosmetic dentistry from New York University. And I love conducting camps in my clinic, or I go to play schools, and also I give my services to rural India because I feel it's all about awareness. So today we'll be talking about childhood oral habits and their effects. Now, what are oral habits? Any habit is basically an action which has a frequent, very frequent, like it just keeps on happening. The frequency is too much. And childhood oral habits means habits which beginning from your early childhood days. Now let's talk about the bad habits first. There are good, there are bad, but today let's start with the bad ones. Now, what is this? Any child whose teeth will be like that, the mother would be obviously very tense. Okay, what is the doctor? And they'll rush and come to the clinic. Uh, Imagine the gap is so big that the probably the child does not even need to open his mouth. Mom can just put a spoon inside that gap and just feed the baby. But what has led to this? Something as cute as this, which is thumb sucking. Now, just throwing some light on thumb sucking, it is supposed to be normal till the infant, till the baby is approximate 2 to 3 years. It's a normal response when you give something to a child, the child will put it in the mouth. But once the child is about 3, and if this habit persists, this is what exactly it will lead to at the age of 6 to 7 years. It is called as an open bite. Now, why does this happen? When the child is continuously sucking the thumb, there is so much of pressure from the thumb that the upper jaw bone, which is very soft for any child till 9 to 10 years, it tends to deform, it tends to constrict, and the front teeth then will come proclined. So this is exactly what happens with thumb sucking, and it is called as an open bite. Apart from this, also does the jaw of the lower jaw will elongate because there is so much of pressure coming off the thumb on the lower jaw as well. So if we don't want to have something like that, we have to stop the habit. It is I would not say it is easy, but yes, it is doable. Always motivation is the thing for any habit. You have to keep on motivating the child. You have to keep on correcting the child. When the child is indulging in this habit, you can always distract the child, make them play some games, or give them some storybooks or something like that. Another thing that works well is you make the child sit in front of the mirror when the child is thumb sucking. Especially girls, I think they get very conscious and they stop doing it. If all these things don't help, there are over-the-counter medicines that are available at the medical stores, which you apply to their thumb. Because they are bitter, so they are reminded that when they put their thumb, oh, they are not supposed to suck it. If that also does not work, then you have to visit the dentist. The dentist will make some appliance, which will be a constant reminder to the patient that they are not supposed to do this activity. And that is the reason we have to stop this activity. Another one would be something which is called as mouth breathing. Now we all know we are supposed to use our nose for breathing, but there are some people or some patients, I would say, who are like the worst patients to treat, who breathe with their mouth. Now what happens with mouth breathing is there'll be a lot of bad breath coming from their mouth. Their gums will be very sore. Again, their face will be very long, something like Hrithik Roshan, like an elongated face. There'll be gap like what you saw in the previous picture. There'll be gap between their upper and lower jaw. Now, ideally, like all teeth that are present in our mouth have a particular setting, so which helps us to eat and conduct our normal activities. If there is a lot of gap between our upper and lower teeth, there will be speech problems. The child will turn out to be conscious. He'll be an intimidated child. He might not be very friendly, very active. So apart from the dental thing, these things also are seen in such kids, and these needs to be corrected. Another bad habit that we see very commonly is nail biting. This, I would say, not only in children, but this is a very, very common habit in most of the adults also. Now, why is this nail biting considered to be so bad? What happens is when you're eating nail, like this generally happens when you're anxious, when you're stressed out, when you're thinking or into your deep thoughts, you need some kind of a stimulation. So you tend to put your nail, pencil, things like that in your mouth. But what happens is when your front two teeth meet, there is so much of excessive pressure applied that the enamel of your teeth tends to wear off. And you will see something like that, like a permanent tooth wear. Now, this enamel is supposed to be like the strongest material present in your body. It is supposed to last you for a lifetime. But if you've managed to damage it, imagine the amount of stresses and amount of forces that you've been applying. Apart from these tooth wear, there can be chips in your teeth. There are cracked lines which are seen, and these are irreversible. Then some kind of an extensive dental treatment will be required to rectify all this. The previous two habits, I will show it to you how they can be rectified later on further in the slide. These are another few bad habits which are commonly seen in our day-to-day life. It is like a competition at times with children, to open bottles, especially teenagers, like they would love to open bottles with their teeth. People have lost their molars, like their grinders, which are like the most important teeth because of these habits. Then opening of sellotapes or, some kind of plastic wrappers, especially women working in the kitchen, you are in a hurry to make something and there you go. So these are detrimental habits. People might lose their teeth also in the whole bargain, the front teeth also. Even chewing onto ice. In fact, I had a couple of years back, I had a mother and daughter coming to me, both having a similar kind of a wear. And upon taking the history, I realized that mother used to have a habit of eating ice. And so the daughter picked up that habit. And for both of them, their entire left side, the entire teeth were eroded. Why? Just because they used to snack on ice. These are another few bad habits. These are another few bad habits to list, which is lip biting. It is very, very common in children when they are seeing TV or when they're studying, they keep on biting their lip. What happens is due to excessive pressure, they might deform the lip shape. Then something which is called as clenching, where when people get angry, they just do this. So this clenching again applies a lot of pressure in your opposing teeth and will lead to loss of enamel. Night grinding again is a very common feature which is seen in kids, but at times it is considered to be normal. Either it is related to some kind of intestinal worms, or it could be some nutritional deficiency. So if you deworm the kid, he should be okay. But if this habit persists when your kid is a teenager, or in the later on in life, then again entire enamel will be lost, and by the time that that kid would be 30-35, he will have start having so many dental problems. It's going to be unimaginable. Something called as tongue thrust, where the patient or the kid has a habit of putting his tongue between his upper and lower teeth. There's immense pressure coming with that tongue, so that his teeth also start flaring out. This also can be related at times with thumb sucking, because there is such a big gap, the tongue will try and go there. Something which is called as overzealous brushing. Yes, brushing is very, very good, but it has to be controlled. Overzealous means using extra pressure, which will again wear off your enamel. Eating inedible things. Uh, so guys, we have teeth only to chew food, not like pencils or pen. People even chew hair and wires and bobby pins. No, you are not supposed to put anything except food in your mouth to chew. Another bad habit would be sticky candies, refined flour. Now, why exactly are these things, like always, like whenever you go to the doctor or dentist, they will be like, stop eating chocolate, stop eating sugar, stop eating this. Why? Why do they say that? Now, what happens is, when we eat sugar, okay, uh, the normal pH of our mouth would be generally 6.5 to 7. But as soon as we eat sugar or refined flour, the pH drastically drops to about 2, which becomes acidic. Now, this acidic environment in our mouth is very conducive for the bacteria. So they can multiply faster and produce more acid, and will do an acid attack to your teeth and will erode your enamel. So that's why these are considered to be harmful. See, I will not say that you don't give it to your child. Have a fixed time of a day where he's only giving sweets in that particular hour, or maybe, of course, not every day. Maybe make it bi-weekly. Uh, Counsel them. I think they listen. I mean, it's not that they will always throw tantrums. They do listen. Now, again, just explaining the previous thing, what I told about the sugars and bacteria. So this is like a tug of war, which will happen in your mouth with the sugar and bacteria on one side, and poor your saliva and toothpaste. So how much ever rinsing you do, or how much ever fluoride you use in your toothpaste, but if your sugar content or your sugar consumption is high, your bacteria are going to win, and you are going to have a lot of dental cavities. So we are done with major of the bad habits. Now let's talk about the good boys, the good habits. Of course, it goes without saying, brushing is the way to go. There is a very, very simple rule of brushing, a rule of 2. You have to do it twice in a day for 2 minutes. Now, why twice? Like, isn't once enough? No, it's not enough. What happens is, at night, when we eat food, the last meal, there is a lot of food stuck between our teeth. We have to brush it off. If we don't, when we are sleeping in our sleep, the saliva secretion is very, very minimal. So the food will be stuck there, and again, it will be like a very conducive environment for the bacteria to keep on attacking your teeth. So that food, whatever is left between your teeth, has to be removed. So brushing, rinsing are the way to go. Any meal that you eat, or even a small snack, maybe a small biscuit also when you're eating, you have to rinse thoroughly your mouth. But is only brushing, rinsing enough for us? No. We need to floss. Brushing only takes care of your 65% of your oral hygiene. The rest 35%, you have to floss your teeth. And yes, this habit has to be inculcated in our children who are almost 12 to 13, where almost all their teeth are touching each other. They have to develop that habit. Till the age of 10, we suggest the parents to brush for their children. Yes, you heard it right. Till the age of almost 9 to 10 years, till when their motor skills are 100% not developed. So once when they start brushing on their own, when their motor skills are decent enough, that is when you inculcate the habit of flossing to them. But for that, dear parents, you guys also will have to start flossing along with them. Sorry. Apart from brushing, flossing, rinsing, tongue cleaning is another important thing that we cannot underestimate. Our tongue is never smooth. It is rough and bumpy. There's a lot of food stuck over there throughout the day. So we have to scrape it twice in a day, once in the morning, once at night. Now, many patients ask us, doctor, why brushing? Why can't he just use a mouthwash, just rinse and off to bed? See, I am not that great fan of mouthwash. If you have a necessary, if you have like a condition where it is required, yes, please use it. But what happens is mouthwashes are made up of alcohol. Now, these alcohol will obviously destroy the bacteria, of course, the bad bacteria, but there are many good bacteria in your mouth. So that mouthwash will even wash away that. So unless and until advised by the doctor, please do not use mouthwash. Now, another most important good habit, which is always underrated, is regular dental checkups. We advise the patient to walk into a clinic every biannually or every 6 months. It is very, very important. In fact, I would suggest the first time that you take your child for a dental checkup is as small as when he's almost 8 to 9 months, or around the time when his first teeth has erupted. Of course, the doctor clinic, or just take the clinic in the clinic to just be to show him or just to acclimatize him to the clinic. Will be taught how to take care of the teeth, how to keep it clean, and also the child would be used to visiting a dental clinic and will not be very anxious or hyper when really something goes wrong with the child's teeth, or when really some treatment is required. So these early habits, if inculcated, their dental journey will be very, very smooth. That's the reason at times when just the first time when a kid enters the clinic, the kid is almost 6 to 7 years. Imagine 6 to 7-year-old child has so many questions in mind, so much of anxiousness, so much of fear in them. It is very, very difficult then to tackle that kind of a child who already has so many pre-notions. But if taken at an early age, that they will be very calm, they'll cooperate, they will have a rapport with the dentist also. So of course they will know, okay, the auntie is not going to hurt, or uncle is just going to do a checkup, and whatever uncle or auntie will do, it's for their good, So it really helps. And of course it holds true for the elders also. We need to go every 6 months for our checkups. Now, what happens during a checkup for a normal, like an individual? We do a thorough examination. At times when we feel there is something fishy, or your tooth color does not look normal, or we see some kind of a hole somewhere, so we would suggest you to go for x-rays. Now, most of these x-rays today, they are digitalized, they have minimal exposure, so they are very, very safe. Now, what does an x-ray do? X-ray will show us if there is if everything between your teeth is okay, if your bone around your teeth is okay. It's just like a apart from these, there are some preventive procedures which we advise the kids generally from 6 to 12 years to go ahead with. One of them would be a fluoride treatment. Now, what is fluoride treatment? Uh, Fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral which is found in the mouth, but it is seen so that when extra dosage of these fluoride are applied on their teeth, it forms like a covering, like a shield on your teeth, which prevents the acid attack. So this protects your teeth from the acid attack, and also whatever little damages that have been done on the enamel, the demineralization is taken care of with the fluoride. So a fluoride toothpaste definitely is recommended for all the kids till 13 years. There are fluoride mouthwashes also available in the market, but of course they are given to patients who are undergoing orthodontic treatment because they require that high amount of fluoride. And any adult patient also who has a lot of cavities, or who every 6 months would come to our clinic and like, okay, doctor, we've got another new cavity, we do suggest fluoride treatment for them also. So it is a very safe, painless, absolutely kid friendly procedure. Kids love to do it. In fact, they will be the ones to remind their parents, mom, it's time to go to put that little gel on our teeth, just take us. So it's really overwhelming when the parents tell us, okay, my kid reminded me. Another such procedure would be something which is called as Pitt and Fisher sealant. Now, what exactly are these? Now, if you just roll your tongue to the back of your teeth, you will realize that teeth are not flat. They are bumpy, like they have mountains and they have valley-like structures in them. Now, what happens is when we eat food, the food goes and settles between these valley-like structures. And that is the point from where your cavities begin. So these molars erupt at the age of 6 years in a child's mouth. And of course, in today's day, controlling diet for a child of 6 years is going to be hell lot of difficult. However strict we are, whatever said and done, but we don't know what the kid eats when they go to school, or they share dabbas with their friends and all that. So as in the home, if you're monitoring your child and you're taking utmost care, but still you never know. There is a limitation of how much care you can take. So coming back to this topic, the food will get stuck there, and that is where the cavities will begin. So we need to seal those grooves over there. So this again is a drill-free procedure where we put a sealant. It's like a resin material. It sets on the teeth and it stays there forever, and it seals those grooves, which prevents the entry of the food from that place. So this is how we keep cavities under control. But by doing these procedures, that doesn't mean that the child will never get cavities. It's like doing this and the child is day in and day out eating chewing gums and chocolates and sticky candies. All these procedures are going to fail then. So of course, considering that the patient is following a healthy diet, and why diet is so important, like I explained about the sugars, what happens is when we eat a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, especially things like carrots and cucumbers, they have this picking action. So like whatever is stuck between your teeth, it can always pick up. So that is how it helps us. Apart from the nutritive value, it also keeps the cavities at bay. So the foods that are good for your gut, that is good for your stomach, are the food which will be good for your mouth also. So please inculcate those habits in your children, or give them those kind of diets. Now, these were the common bad and the good habits that I shared with you all, and the preventive measures that we can take. Now, coming to some common problems which we routinely see in young patients, in teenagers. Now, this is trauma. Trauma means where the patient manages to break or lose his front teeth. This is a very common thing seen in school kids while playing, or they are just pushing or fighting or something, and they just fall on their mouth and they manage to chip their teeth. But it can be easily restored. It can be easily corrected with the help of a tooth colored filling. It just happens in an hour. At times, if the impact is very severe, then we might have to go for a root canal, but it's always, I'm sorry. Yeah, so these are quite painless procedures again. Next are this thing, which is a very common thing we see in most of the children, is crooked teeth, and they have to be corrected with braces. Most of the time, the parents would walk to us and they're like, doctor, is it a fashion to put braces? Everybody in the class is putting braces. What I would say, I would tell them, we cannot predict the positioning of your teeth. If they are coming to crooked, there is a particular pathway that they follow. At times, we can intercept it as in, hello. At times we can, if you know, if the child is coming for regular checkups and we feel there is something fishy, and at times we can help them. But the 100% positioning of the teeth we cannot predict. And if he has some teeth like that which are crooked, they have to be corrected with the help of braces. See, it is not only for looks. Braces, mind y'all, it is not for looks only. There is a, like I told you, there is a certain setting where the upper and the lower jaw have to meet each other. If Mother Nature has not given you that, we try and mimic this with the help of braces. Now, throwing some more light on braces, there has been a super evolution in this field. Earlier, they used to be like very tedious, very cumbersome. But now they are very simple. In half an hour, you can just apply braces and you're easy to go. Another common question would be, doctor, they are very painful. My son is very scared, or my daughter has heard this from her friend. See, I don't deny about the pain, but anything foreign in your mouth, for initial 2-3 days, you're going to feel it. But the fourth day, trust me, it's going to be as it's going to be as if it's a part of your body. But with braces, only thing is the patient has to be very, very careful with the hygiene. Even a small piece of nut, if the patient eats, the patient has to keep a braces, orthodontic toothbrush ready and keep on cleaning his teeth. Yes, that is going to be a task. But if they don't do it, then there will be severe cavities seen later on in life. But this is a very, very important procedure. I highly recommend this for all the parents to go ahead if their kids require it. So there are something which are the metallic braces on the left side and something which are the ceramic braces or the invisible braces that they call it. Uh, okay, now just a question for all of y'all. What do you think? Who's wearing braces in this picture? Actually, both are wearing. Now you can go wireless with braces also. So these are called as aligners or invisible braces, where in fact earlier it used to be like only children can go for braces. No, it's not that. Braces can be done at any age now, be it 35, be it 45, be it 55, 65. We are good to go. If you don't have any underlying bone issue or your gums are absolutely healthy, you can opt for braces and get that perfect smile. So that's so this exactly works well with that kind of arena of patients who require who are working, or who are conscious. I don't want to go with the metal ones, so you can go for the invisible braces. These are another few problems that we see with children and adults, where they come with a lot of tartar. Now, such a patient would tell me, doctor, I brush my teeth twice, then why do I get it? Then on asking the patient, I realized that the method of brushing is wrong. So that patient for 20 years has been brushing in a wrong fashion. So we obviously guide the patient and tell them that this is not the way they need to brush. And we do a quick round of cleaning for them. And of course, these patients are monitored every 6 months to see whether they are getting these tartar deposits again and again. See, formation of tartar is very, very normal. It happens. That's the reason cleaning and polishing is advised to a normal individual at least once in a year, or at times twice in a year, depending on the case. This is very important to keep your gums healthy and pink. And gums is the foundation of your overall health. If your gums are strong and healthy, your teeth will be good and you will not have dental problems. Another common problem that we see in young kids is cavities in their front teeth. Uh, Again, rewinding back, this is where the flossing would help. If this child would have learned to floss at the age of 12 or 13, these cavities would have never popped up. And this is a very classical thing, when the cavities would start in between the teeth, because that is where your brushing will not go, and that is where you have to get the floss in action. So if you guys have not been flossing, the adults here, please start doing it and also motivate your children to do it, but after the age of 12 or 13. So yeah, this was a small presentation from my side. And I also have a small little demo to show you all how to go about with brushing, because that is the place where I feel most of the parents and children go wrong. So this is a model, if you can see, uh, this is the upper jaw, okay, and this is the lower jaw. You can use
And for
any
people
tool.
who have
Take it little
questions,
behind.
like I
Take it
see a
little
question
behind.
from
Okay,
Eshani.
is it okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, all right. So suppose it's if your mouth is like that, and if you are a right-hander, you will generally start from the left side. All right. So if you're starting from the lower side, your brush has to be at a 45-degree angle. Starting from the gum, you have to go upwards like this. The motion has to be nice and gentle, and it cannot be very soft. At the same time, it cannot be very hard. It has to be appropriate. There is no machine to gauge the pressure. It is just with practice, you guys will know it. So this is how you go around doing this entire lower jaw. Similarly, on your upper side, you start from the, from the upper end and go down like this. All right. And this is how you cover the entire portion of your upper and lower jaw. But the what we neglect is the inner surfaces here. So your brush also has to go and do the same action on the inner side also. All right. And the most challenging part is the inner upper surfaces and the inner lower surfaces. For the upper surface, you're supposed to hold your brush like that. With the heel of your brush, you're supposed to brush your inners like this. So this will take care of your front 6 teeth. And so is this, where the tip of your brush has to work like this. All right. There are many videos on YouTube you will get. You guys can follow the videos. Try and inculcate this method. This is a very, very good method. You will never go wrong with it. And even teach your children also this. And just a tip for the parents, they will be like, my child is 3-year-old, 4-year-old. He will not open his mouth. He'll not do this. He'll not do that. See, I know brushing is like not that interesting. So make it like a fun activity for your child. Make it like a game time, or you have these timers. You time it for 2 minutes, or make it like a story time for him. There are also electronic brushes available, especially for kids. It's a very, very good investment for the kid and the adult. You can buy those. Um, Again, the way and the technique for brushing would be, the mother or the parent is standing behind. The mother can, you have to engage the child's head with this arm, tilt the child's head up so that you cheek, like, just pull their cheek gently and do these rounding, start brushing in circles and circles. And on the top surfaces, you have to go horizontal. Even here for the adults, the top surfaces are the only places where you have to go horizontal. What people generally brush is like this, overall, like this. But if you are going horizontal, you will not manage to clean the whatever is stuck between your teeth. So this is how you will cover 65% of your brushing. What I'm talking about floss, if there are two types available, one would be a roll where the floss comes in a roll. You just need to remove a thread like that. And you are supposed to entangle between your two fingers and take it in between your teeth, slightly gently, and slide it below your gum. See, this might be difficult for a beginner. So what you can invest is in a uni floss, like a handled floss. So this comes in a packet of 100, where you can even put it in your purse or a wallet. And if you're in your office and all, you can use it in between your, after your lunch, or a snack or whatever. So initially, to begin with, you can use these. These are very, very good, very easy. You can just wash them and put it back. But of course, when you see the filaments tearing off, you have to discard them. And these, after every use, you have to discard it. So these turn out to be economical. Yes, there are no alternatives, unfortunately, for this. Like no eco-friendly options as of now available. Any good one that we know. But yeah, maybe somebody will come up with this. Another common bad habit which we see in adults, maybe children, they dig in their teeth with pencils, with pens, toothpicks. I don't know why this toothpick is made and why is it called a toothpick. I don't know. So people, safety pins, yeah, people also clean their teeth with safety pins. But there is some tool available in the market like this, which is called as a Proxa brush. So this, it easily slides between your teeth. This is more so for adults, not for children. This will slide between your teeth if the gap is too big around your caps.
Take over. And
Hello?
your voice is, coming, in disturbed way. So can you just name the last
Okay.
one again? Yeah.
A Proxa brush. Hello? It's called Proxa brush.
Clear now. Yeah.
Okay, Proxa brush. I can just write it in the chat box later. You get many companies, ka. You can use any, it is okay. So this will help you clean anything that is stuck between your teeth. So next time before putting any safety pin or a toothpick, please alert yourself and start using this. This again is a small thing. It easily goes in your wallet, in your pocket, and you can carry it anywhere and everywhere. This has to be your best friend. If you have a lot of dental problems, lot of caps, you have to use this. Yeah, Sarita. So I am done from my part. I hope it was informative and you guys will have something to carry back home.
Yes, thank you so much, Manisha, for such a lovely and informative session. And there are few questions which people are also writing on the chat box also. One question which I have, the
Yeah.
Proxa brush which you just said right now, is how many times can that be used?
So see, generally, maybe if you're starting to use it like a beginner, will damage it quite often, but they last you easily 2 to 3 weeks, easily.
And is there any good toothpaste for 4-year child? That's what.
Okay.
Question asked by parents.
We all dentists would advise a fluoridated toothpaste. You get many in market, like a Cheerio gel, like a Thermosil F, and Kedodent. You can use those. See, I'm not a very great fan of those Chiku ones and all that, which they say are very good. I don't know. I really don't know the fluoride content of them. But Cheerio gel or Kedodent, they are good to go. And
okay, what is?
yeah,
Continue. No, you continue.
Yeah. No, tell me.
So, what is the quantity of fluoride which can a child take if it is some percentage of it which is written on the toothpaste?
See, generally toothpaste will have 500 to 600 ppm. So that is decent, and these toothpaste will have that adequate amount. They will not overdo it. So it's absolutely safe. Actually, more than the quantity in the toothpaste, it's the amount that we give to the child. So when the child, in fact, we should start giving the child toothpaste only once he's 2 years old. Like I would suggest once he's 2 years, just a small dot, so that they start developing the habit of having that foam in the mouth, and that's when they learn to spit also. So once they cross the 3 to 6 age, 3 to 6, you give them like a rice ka dana, like a rice, how small the rice dana is, something like that. 1 6 and above, you can give them a pea size, like Watanaka size. You can give that much to them. So this is absolutely safe. And of course, we would not, advocate them ingesting it. But if some part goes in, it is absolutely safe. So don't worry.
So there is one more question on a private chat to me. There is the child's age is 2-year-old and her teeth is damaged. So which paste or thing can save her more damage?
Okay. So if the teeth are damaged, then it's a high time they visit a dentist, because we need to find out why the teeth are damaged. So just like what these tips I told you about oral hygiene, like brushing or just keep cleaning the teeth after every meal or cleaning the tongue, will just prevent further damage. But whatever damage has been done will not be reversed. So yeah, they can start using Cheerio gel once the baby is 2 years and above. It is absolutely safe. Hello.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
another question. What age can a Cheerios toothpaste use? I think you said 1 year and above, right?
2 year and above, and you can use it till 13 years, like till they are like kind of, enter their teens. 13 years, it's a good age to use these fluoridated toothpaste.
So there is also a question for teenage toothpaste for a teenage kid.
So I think once they turn like, 10 to 12 or 13, they automatically don't like these kiddie things. So they will only stop it and they will use the toothpaste which the parents use. So, see, frankly, it's not the toothpaste that really does the magic. It's the technique of your brushing. See, I personally like Colgate Total. I'm absolutely happy with it. So I use that. There'll be some patients who will like Meswak. It's okay, use it. Only thing is, any toothpaste that you guys choose, it does not have to be very coarse. Like those Dabur Lal Dant Manjan, I am not a fan of that, because if you feel it, it has to be very smooth. It does not have to be coarse. What that coarse toothpaste will do is it will in turn damage your enamel. So it has to be a very fine and smooth paste. And some might prefer gels, some might prefer the white, the strong mint ones. It is really okay. And frankly, the ones that they market in the, like the salt and the charcoal and all that, I'm really sorry. I don't think that really helps, or this gives that extra whitening and this gives that. No, it's just a gimmick. I feel there's nothing much to it. It's just your technique that you need to do it correctly.
Okay, when you mentioned after 2 years, Cheerios toothpaste can be used, up till what years they can use that toothpaste?
Almost 13 years, 12 to 13 years.
Okay, up till 13 years they
Yeah,
can use. So there
yeah,
is a
yeah.
question from a parent. Her child is grinding at night since he was 2 years old. Now he
Hmm.
has reduced, but
Hmm.
still he does. I have
Hmm.
been giving him vitamin D,
Hmm.
warming too. As soon as I realize he's grinding now, he's 5 years old. So as soon as she realized he's doing grinding, she has done
Hmm.
few things from her part.
Yeah, great. So you're doing good. I mean, deworming does help. And like I told, some nutritional deficiency, so could be vitamin D. But see, again, in children, this is considered to be a very normal activity. What I mean is like till 10 to 12, it should be okay. But if this habit persists after that, then yes, then it is something alarming. So till then, it's really, it's okay. Nothing to worry.
Okay, is there any brand for a toothbrush?
Toothbrush, again, we have umpteen in market. Um, Electronic toothbrush is highly, highly, highly recommended. Why? Because one, the head is very, very small, and the vibrating motions have that, appropriate amount of pressure that one needs to apply. And the cleaning also happens very effectively. It's just that you have to take it to all the regions. If you don't want to invest in an electronic toothbrush, I would always prefer a medium grit toothbrush. Like there is a soft, medium, and a hard. Soft we would give to generally patients who've undergone some kind of surgeries. Hard toothbrushes you don't need to use. You're never supposed to use a hard toothbrush. It's always the medium that you're supposed to use. Rest, the ones with the zigzag bristles and all, whatever the patient is comfortable is good. It's just that the grit should be medium. It should not be hard.
So softer to medium bristles are the best ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, there's a question again from the fluoride perspective. I have heard that fluoride contributes to Alzheimer disease. Is it a true or a fake?
Not that I have heard anything like that, but the amount of fluoride that we would suggest in any kind of toothpaste is very, very minimal. In fact, in US and all, it's at times mandatory for the kids to have that fluoride. They have some kind of a fluoride drink, which they are given. So it's absolutely safe. And if you exceed that really high amounts, that is when you will have damages and all. But in fact, the local waters that we have very, very less amount of fluoride. So I don't think there is something like that.
Okay. And what is the right age for putting the braces for a child?
See, that again depends, but somewhere around when the child is in 8 to 9 standard, I would say, when all his teeth would have been erupted, that is an ideal age. But yes, like I told you all, there are some cases where we can, at times control, or we'll have to do like very early orthodontic treatment, because if their cases are very complex. So that again begins with 8 to 9 years also. So if you take your child for frequent visits, the doctor will keep him under check and feel
Uh,
that your child's lower jaw. Yeah,
okay.
tell me.
No, you
Yeah.
went mute in between. Hmm,
Oh, sorry.
hmm.
So when the child's lower jaw, you feel it's becoming really big, like like Supandi, that is something not good. So if you feel something like that, you have to take your child to the dentist, and we have to kind of curb that growth and initiate the growth of the upper jaw. So that is when orthodontics would help in a very early age, like 7 to 8 years. So that's the reason, that's the magic that dental visits would do. They will try and pick up the problems. So otherwise, for a normal patient, yes, 8 to 9 standard is an ideal age where they do all that.
So there is a fluoride treatment should be given once in a year or twice for kids. What is a fluoride
Uh,
treatment? I am not aware.
See, so I just explained that
Hmm.
fluoride treatments are
You are mute.
such as,
You went mute. Can you say again? Yeah, you went
yeah.
silence. Hmm.
So it's like that transparent nail polish that we put on our nails. Fluoride is like a varnish. So which we paint on the kids' teeth, or there is a fluoride gel which we apply to their teeth, just to give them that extra protection of their teeth. And yeah, what was the question? What is the right age, or how many times you're supposed to
Yeah,
do?
or once or
Uh,
twice for kids.
It
Once a
depends.
year or twice.
That also depends if the child is like has a cavity-free mouth. That means if the child does not have any cavities, then we are good to do once in a year. But if the child has a high tendency of getting cavities, then yes, twice is mandatory. We'll have to do it twice then.
Okay. Which braces are good?
See, any braces are good. It's not which is good or bad. It's like which what do I say?
Comfortable? Which are comfortable?
Yeah, whichever the patient is comfortable with. In fact, the conventional ones, the metallic ones, are like the way to go. But at times, the especially nowadays, I'm seeing this trend. Like the girls, they don't want that metal shown. Their selfies go bad, so they will coax the parents to go for the ceramic ones. See, they ultimately they do the same work. It's not that this will do lesser work or that will do better
It's
work.
how much you want to spend.
Yeah, you can put it that way. You can put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
there's one more question.
yeah.
My daughter has a gap between two front upper tooth.
Huh.
Do I need to do anything? First question.
Okay, okay.
Kidodent toothpaste is marked black, which means it's totally chemical. Is this right? So, is there any natural toothpaste? Hmm.
Okay, so now the gap between teeth, now gap between teeth for a child between 6 to, I would say, 9 years is very, very normal. It's called as an ugly duckling stage where, they have a mixed thing of a temporary and a permanent teeth, where you will see their front teeth very long and big, and, gaps between that. That is normal. That eventually will close once all their teeth come in place. But for some reason, if that does not manage to close, that is the time where orthodontics will play its role. So yeah, normal. It is normal for 6 to 9 years. It's absolutely normal. And marked black, see, whatever you get in market, these kidodent and all, they are chemicals. Everything is chemical only. Like, but these are good chemicals. It's not that all chemicals are bad. Like I just said, Meswak is probably a natural toothpaste that you get. And down in south, there is some Nimbodri or some brand. There are many you get Ayurvedic ones. But I don't know how safe is it for kid to use those. I mean, we generally recommend a fluoridated one. Hello?
Okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, so okay, so I
Some,
also,
yeah.
is there any other question? One
I
second.
think someone's written while doing toothbrush, she's crying. So it is good to
Yeah,
do
okay, I
brush
missed,
or
I missed,
of
huh? I
damaged
missed that.
tooth or not.
Hmm.
See, it's all about your parenting skill that time of how you manage to convince your child brushing. I have been through a tough time. I myself being doctor, my husband being a dentist, we both have had a tough time. But it is okay. Don't give up because children are very smart. uh, my son used to nicely cry and howl and shout in front of grandparents because he knew he would get his day done there. But we didn't give up, and eventually he realized, okay, okay, nothing doing, I have to do it. And now he happily will brush 2 times in a day. He's almost 10, and at times I will forget to brush, but sorry to say that, but he will never forget to brush. So it's really okay. So don't worry, don't give up, just
Yeah,
try,
so don't
keep
give
on
up,
trying. Yes.
and you need a patience of a Mount Everest that I have always been
Yes.
telling to all the parents on parenting twigs. कि इतना
Yes.
patience चाहिए that if you want some habit to be inculcated in your child, you really need to have that much of patience. They know how to weigh out of a particular
Yes.
activity. So
And
you need to
and
be
so,
2 steps smarter than
yes,
them to get things
absolutely.
done. Hmm.
And Sarita, the best role models for them are their parents, their family. If we, as parents, we set the best example, I think we are sorted. They will never go wrong. I've seen it personally, like, even in the kids who come to the clinic
So
and
I
all
have
that.
few tools right now for how to get brushing without the
Hmm.
kids crying. So I
Hmm.
have used this with my son in childhood, and I had learned it also from
In school.
parenting gurus that time.
Okay.
So have two toothbrushes for them,
Perfect.
and
Ah.
have two different colors, maybe some nice cartoon option or something like that. And
Hmm.
you have to tell them, do you choose to brush with yellow or do you choose to brush with red? Now,
Hmm.
it is registered in the child's mind कि brush तो करना ही है,
Hmm.
whether it's yellow or whether it's red. So it's rather that I have a choice of the red or the yellow one. So some
Correct.
kids might matter. So they
Correct.
might say, I have want the third brush. So third option. So no problem. So you can tell them that time. Today we have two choices. Tomorrow we
Hmm.
will have another two choices, which I will include this one.
Perfect.
Same in the case of a toothpaste. Have two different toothpaste choices,
Hmm.
and maybe some same company with some flavor or something like that. I don't know whether flavors are allowed or no. That was
Yeah,
was
yeah.
told to us that time, that and it perfectly worked very well with the thing. And then the brushing timing also, like if a child is not going to school and the child is doing tantrums in the morning before going to before drinking or something. So do you want to brush after 1 minute or do you want to brush after 5 minutes? That
Hmm.
was the option which is given, but they will not have milk before brushing teeth. So
True.
that was the three things which I have used it with my son, and it has worked phenomenally best. And I don't think I have any trouble in my dental thing with my son in my childhood. So and now he's 18 years old with nice, lovely, beautiful smile.
Wow, that's great. I will again tell this trick to the parents who struggle and who come to clinic and they're like, doctor, help us. This definitely I'm going to keep in mind.
Okay, there's one more question. Root canal or good brushing is good for damaged tooth?
See, depending on which tooth has been advised for a root canal and what age, for a 2-year-old child, okay. Uh, See, if it is advised root canal, then you might have to consider one. Because 2 years is too small, I understand. But understand one thing, that these teeth have to last them at least to 12 to 13 years till their permanent teeth come in. It's for eating, it's for talking, it's even for their social stigma, if their front teeth are damaged, the kid is going to be shy, very inhibited. So yes, you will have to get the treatment done, will have to get the fillings done. Good brushing is of course important, but that cannot replace a root canal. If there is infection in your child teeth, like the milk teeth, that has the researchers have shown that that the permanent teeth that will come in its place will also be damaged. There are theories which have proven that. So don't ignore the infection that is there. You have to get it treated.
The best way is go to a dentist nearby you and
Yes,
get your treatment done as soon as possible. That's the
definitely.
we eat lots of stuff, and the oral hygiene is the most important part for health of the body as well,
Yes,
not
yes,
only aesthetic but otherwise as well.
yes.
So really do take care of your child's jitna bhi drama, trauma, whatever they are doing. bear with it, and you will
But
actually
Sarita,
you will pat your back when you see that all your efforts have been paid off
paid
very
off.
well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
See, even they do tantrums for food, but don't we
Mm.
we leave them? We do feed them, right?
Right,
So
right.
it was same with that. So it's just matter of patience, like you said. And I think once they know that the parent is not going to give up, they will also be okay with it. They'll mellow down.
Right, agreed to that. So thank you so much, Dr. Marisha. You were really, really, informative, and you answered lots of questions which parents ask. Thank you so much. And this recording will be put on the YouTube as well. Parents who have not been able to see it, they will be able to see it. And those who are seeing it after this, kindly subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much. And thank you, parents, for being here and taking care of your child. And yes, one last sentence, have a patience of Mount Everest. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, guys. Thank you, Sarita, for this lovely platform.
Yeah,
Miss,
thank you. Bye bye.
Miss.